voice to skull or radio effect hearing, radio frequency effect hearing, the phenomenon of it for several decades now in the field to communicate with platoons of soldiers and things like that in the military. So they would not have to have actual, communication stations. They're a little easier to hit these days, and the Russians had designed it back in the 20s. I'm sorry?
No, I'm sorry. This weaponry, it has been used on you and your fiancée.
Yes, most definitely. We had, and after he had shortly told me that this was going to start, when I realized that they could actually see her naked, I wasn't worried about myself. Once I realized that they could see her naked, out of concern alone, I scooped her up in my belongings and I moved to Columbus, Ohio with a very good friend of mine, Wade Smith. He told me to get out of Wichita, come up there and spend some time up there, see if it would stop once we got there. Well, unknowing, that it was I was either being followed, I was unaware that I was being gang stalked at all. My perps have, often told me that I was the easiest target in the world, that I was the biggest sucker, the easiest person to take advantage of because I was a nice person. I would do anything for anybody. We moved 1,000 miles east of my home in Wichita to Columbus, Ohio. Up there, we had received subliminal threats. We had received threats over the phone. We'd received all kinds of things, all kinds of threats through stalking and things like that. That if we basically, what was being disclosed to us is if we did not forfeit the invention to this person doing this, that they would kill my whole family. Mm-hmm. And I thought, okay, well, I've already taken the steps to patent it. I can't sign it over to you, even if I wanted to. And I'm not going to budge, even to this day. Well, in Columbus, my ex-fiance and I, we were in the middle of, living our lives. I thought that they couldn't see her naked anymore, violate her. Little did I know, unbeknownst to me, they had been, viciously raping her for the past several years. And I was unaware of how the, technology worked, the actual directed energy, the strange behavior, things like that. I was unaware of them. I just blew it off. I didn't really think that it was anything to be concerned with, and it wasn't, behavior that was out of the ordinary. It was just very strange for us to argue and fight. We were like best friends, every single thing, we discussed everything. We talked about everything that you can think of. We trusted each other 100%. So we had moved to Columbus, Ohio, and she had conceived. She had gotten pregnant, and they were aware of it, and she was aware of it also. She had taken 2 home pregnancy tests as well as a pregnancy test up in at the doctor. All 3 had confirmed that she had been conceived, that she was pregnant. Well, we kept getting the radio effects hearing, the V2K with horrible threats, microwave burns on my face, on my back. I break out in rashes on my legs. I've never had these problems before. I've never had dermal problems or skin problems before at all. One night, I was sleeping, and I woke up to her sitting straight up, and she looked over at me with a horrible look on her face and started crying about how bad she grabbed her side and about how bad her stomach had hurt. And I, of course, became very concerned, and I turned on the light, and I had her lay back down, and there was a burn, 3 by 3, right around there, 3 inches by 3 inches, a huge burn, just a big bright red spot, and splotches that was indicative, to this kind of harassment, whether it be electromagnetic, microwave, either way. It was, a overt element to her her stomach, or uterus area, her womb. And she says, I think I'm going to lose the baby. I don't know what's wrong. It really hurts. And all she could do was cry. Well, I had taken pictures of it. There was a very large burn on her stomach. And sure enough, she had went to the doctor the next day, or maybe 2 days after that, and they were showing no signs of, she still had the pregnancy in her blood, as far as the chemicals that are being emitted when she is pregnant. But as far as having prenatal activity, there seemed to be none. There seemed to be a area of scar tissue now, and that night when she had woke up, when we both had woke up, they had transmitted that they just murdered both our baby, and they plan to murder my whole family, that I'll either give them the invention or they will kill her and they will, kill my whole family. So I thought, okay, this is getting serious, I had no idea. And I had been listening, a little bit in the background. They had been discussing how long they had been doing this to me, as well as, my ex-fiance. Since day one, we were oblivious to it. We had no idea. Well, as time went on in Columbus, the dissolving effects on our relationship caused us to separate. She went to Phoenix, Arizona for a little while, stayed there, made several phone calls back to me stating that she wanted to be with me, and it was very sparse and incomprehensible. I didn't understand, why she had left in the first place, but she had left, and she had called me crying several times, wanting to get back with me, and I wasn't real sure exactly what she was wanting, So when she moved to Utah, and I had received word that, she was being promiscuous and had chose to go on with her own life, and that was fine, so I had terminated the relationship after that. And this is where I'm at today, is fighting, tooth and nail for the, recognition of this harassment as being a complete, it's a complete applied, remote behavioral influence. The situations are of a virtual reality application. They are being used, huge, mass amounts of people can be targeted with these weapons, very close friends, things that will, thin you out, things that will, make people, techniques that will make people draw a conclusion against you that is not, accurate. And the way that they are doing these things is through remote behavioral influence, subliminal applications, and lies and things like that. I had found several lawyers that were very familiar with the weaponry. One lawyer out of the state of Georgia had bragged actually about having experts in the field of electronic harassment, as well as solving several cases. So with no reluctancy, I went ahead and hired him. $2,000 later, he refuses to recognize me as a client, and now I'm having to file an arbitration against him in grievance of a loss of $2,000, and now all of my belongings and very important x-rays that reveal a cochlea inner ear implant, as well as a thoracic voice duplicator. The design is set up through, one design is set up through Sprint Telephone Company. You can actually have Junior implanted for $2,400 or thereof, with an implant that will couple with their satellite system on cellular phone technology. So when Junior says something like, "Hello, Mom," it will come back to his ear or his auditory cortex. And this would be a confirmation for the phenomenon of voice to skull, or what they would call the radio frequency hearing effect.